My daughter, who is 14, the youngest of three daughters, she has always been able to, when I come home or whatever, she can tell exactly where I'm hurting, and she'll just walk over. And, you know, I have some chronic back symptoms that kind of flare up occasionally, usually when I'm in a negative state. And but it shows up in different spots, and she can precisely locate that each and every time. She will just put her fingers and just touch it. The first time she touches me is exactly where that location is. So she's tapping into that same sort of thing. And you know, she doesn't think of herself as a healing, but once she touches it, it just relieves the pain immediately. And so I really buy into that healing stuff with this energy. And as far as that electrical discharge that you took, that just showed that he received an electrical energy, and it was in his body until you took it out. And I think we're walking in this soup of electronics all the time, from cell phones and all that, and that could be playing a part with our health also. We've got about a minute, Max. Have you had any other experiences that you would want to relate, and then we can follow up after the break?
Well, mainly just experiences like that, John. That's about it, really. But I used to be able to do this quite a lot. I used to do it all the time. But again, I never saw myself as a healer. I imagine that your daughter is tuning into this sort of energy. It is quite easy to do, and we can all do it. It's just knowing the connection and being able to tap into it. And if you put your hands like an inch off someone else, you can literally feel their aura.
Yes, you can. All right, we will take a 4-minute break, and when we come back, we'll dive back into this deep thinking. Hang on, everyone. All right, we are talking with Max Igan. If you have a question for Max, you can call in tonight. You know the number. His website is thecrowhouse.com. If you can't get to it now, write that down so you can go visit it later. If you've been there before, you want to check it out again because there's some dramatic changes on there. And Max, we were talking about healing and such. Where do you think this all goes? Our fight with the New World Order and what they're trying to pull off, and our resistance to it. Where does it go, and when does it happen?
Well, it's happening now. It's happening all around. It's all about energy. Everything it's about energy. Everything that they do, the fear-based reality that they put you in. We just need to get through this cycle and wake people up and become a little bit more self-aware, because they're really trying to lock it down. And the more they try to lock it down, they're only doing this because we're waking up. Their consciousness is waking up. We're returning to self-awareness. That's why there's so many people talking about this stuff. That's why there's people like Greg Braden releasing this research and books like The Secret coming out, because so many people are waking up. And that's the main reason that they're doing all this, because if they can't put a lid on this consciousness now and keep it down, it's going to ascend, it's going to get away from them. They're not going to have a hope of remaining in control. And that's a lot of it, what it's all about. And it's all about energy. The whole thing is a battle of energy. And people ask me, well, how do you channel this energy? How do you lock yourself into this state? And the answer is to lock yourself into that frequency. And it's easier to do than you think. It's just to focus on love and to focus on the connection that we all have to everything else and each other. And it's more of an understanding than a consciousness focusing on something. You can't really try to do it. You just do it. It's not something you can actually try to do intellectually. It comes from the heart. And the more you try, the less success you're going to have, of course, because as soon as you consciously try, well, you're back where you started trying to do something.
Yeah.
It's something that you do without trying. It's an understanding of things. It's a knowing. And once you become aware of the reality of things and of your connection to everyone and everything else, it simply becomes something that you know. And once you truly know it and understand it, you can't unknow it. It's not something you have to try to consciously be aware of. It just is. You know, the universe and everything in it is consciousness. And in a physical sense, it's energy, because that's all there is. Ultimately, it's just pure energy. All matter that exists consists solely of this energy. And understanding that it's all about energy, and everything is about energy, everything. All the emptiness you see around you, all of what you perceive to be empty space, it's not empty, it's energy. It's all teeming with energy. understanding this is the basis of the whole thing. Once you understand that, and you understand that you are everyone and everything, just as everyone and everything else is you, then it becomes so simple. You just seek pleasure in love. Don't hate your brothers or your sisters because they are you. And go out and find a Muslim and get to know him, or a Christian or a Hindu or a Jew or anyone else off the street for that matter. Forget about the colour of their skin or what they look like. Forget about their income bracket, whether they're wearing the latest acceptable fashion accessories. Don't worry about what their occupation or perceived social status is, because all of these things are just illusions. They're all used to distract and divide people. Don't judge people. Know them. They are just like you. They are you. They are part of the same consciousness, simply having a different experience. And they don't want people to know this. They create this massive division through everything they can think of, just to keep you away from this truth. So people just have to lift the veil of lies, never doubt their own power, never doubt your connection to everyone and everything else, because the truth will set you free.
Wow. Profound stuff. I have always told my daughters that there is something beyond faith, and that is knowing us. And you touched on that just then. It is a knowing that this is it. This is what it's all about. We control everything. And that's how the divine mind, as I often refer to it, works through us personally. We have the total free will to create our heaven or our hell collectively or individually, and it's all up to us. We can't blame God or President Bush as far as that goes. It's really us, isn't it?
It is. It's all up to us. We create this ourselves. But you've got to also remember that people have been led away from this knowledge. People are beginning to really believe that this superficial world that they perceive with the five senses is all that there is. And even if you look at religion, the way religions are constructed, quite insidious. I mean, there were 45 books removed from the Bible that told all of this stuff. You'll find that these are still in the other religious texts, in the Gnostic texts, in the a lot of Hindu texts, and this information is still there. And they were very clever the way they did this. They took the words out of the language that allowed us to be able to express these things to each other, to the language that described how that your feelings and your emotion is literally a language that you can use to control reality. That's what it is. This used to be in our most beloved teachings, but they took it out. And that was in the 4th century biblical edits that they did in the Nicene Council. Now, this is a lot of the stuff that the Christ tried to tell people, that you can literally do this stuff yourself. If you live in love, you can create any reality you want. If you understand this energy, you can literally create stuff yourself. We can create matter. Look, I'll feed 5,000 people with 2 loaves of bread to show you what I'm talking about. You know, and they took all this stuff out, and they took out the words from our language. They took these words from our language that enables us to be able to communicate this emotional feeling to each other, to be able to explain it. People think that when they say a prayer, it's just by saying the prayer, the words are going to work. But it's not. It's the emotion behind the prayer. It's the language of feeling and emotion that you have to put into these things to make them work. That's how it works, and that's what they took from us. And it's very clever the way they've done it, and they've done it simply to remove that personal power from people so that people will remain controlled, and people will never realize that what they are searching for and the power to change this entire world lies within us. It lies within each and every one of us, and we are very, very powerful. This is the message that the Christ was trying to give people, but it got lost in institutionalized religion, unfortunately. And that might seem quite blasphemous to say that to some people, but it's not. I'm not saying anything demeaning about anything of the teachings of Christ or anything. I'm just trying to explain that there's a lot of it that has been removed and a lot of it's been changed, and it's been done simply to lead you away from this knowledge. They're very, very clever the way they've done this.
Yes, absolutely. And if we want this power and to use it, we have to use what the Creator is, and that is love. And that's exactly what you're saying, isn't it? The power of love, that feeling of love, is what creates. he created out of love and consciousness. So he's given that to us, and it's totally up to us.